Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Cleanne Chiarico, and today I'd like to share more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension. And today's video will focus on our transition to New Earth and how a lot of that is going to transpire. So before I continue, I'd like to ask you to please like, share, and subscribe. And also do leave a comment to let me know if this resonates with you. I know that these transmissions have the ability to trigger a lot of remembrance, a lot of memories within our being. And the more I speak with people about these messages, the more I realize we all have this truth inside of us. It's just that we've never been asked, or it was never time to access it before. But it is all coming up and all in divine timing, in perfect timing, to allow this process to unfold that is unfolding this year. So we are truly living through some very interesting times, and I am quite excited. I hope you are too. All right, so let me start reading from the transcript from the last session I had, which was just a few days ago. So this is brand new information that I've received. So when I say Carolyn, this is my hypnotist. And when I say me, I'm talking about myself, really in trance, under hypnosis, and therefore the messages are coming from the 25th dimension. Carolyn, you told us that discarding a game board has only been done 2 other times in the multiverse. What other 2 game boards, the solutions, have taken place? Me. There was a planet. It was a planet of water, and they're showing me that it was dark. Something was happening. The water was going from, they're showing me, it's almost like the water was becoming gel. This is how their denseness was affecting them. It was, of course, as it always is, a matter of consciousness, or awareness is a better word. And what happened is, the way they took it down is there was this flame that opened up. It looks like a flame. It looks like lava, like an eruption, an erupting volcano, although there is no volcano. I'm only seeing the flame part of it that engulfed this entire planet, which is interesting because it was a planet of water. So they used a fire to take themselves out. But they did all go to other planets. They were made of water. They were all fine. So it sounds like this was also a game board takedown where they did get to move with their bodies, and which is what we're going to be doing. This is why these situations are so unique in the multiverse. Carolyn. And so where in conjunction to Earth was that? Me. It was a completely different universe. Carolyn. Completely different universe. Me. Yes, we don't have water planets, as in completely water planets in this galaxy. Carolyn. And there was a second one? Me. There was a second one. And the second one was not as material as like our planet. It was almost like more gaseous, like more made of gas. And so I guess you would call it the mass of the planet wasn't as heavy as ours or as solid as ours. I don't know how you measure mass. So again, they're helping me. They're having me translate concepts that I don't, I'm not a physicist, so I don't know how to explain. So hopefully this is clear enough. They're trying to say basically the mass of this other planet, being gaseous, was not as solid as material, as concrete as we consider our own planet Earth. They were basically coming to a point where they were dissolving. They were becoming completely dust. This was going to be where they were going to get to, because again, of their lack of understanding, that they created this for their own pleasure. This wasn't a condition that they were subject to. It was something they created, they chose. And because of this, they went so far in the wrong direction that they were going to dissipate with people on it, with everybody on it. But of course, they ended up not being caught by surprise because they also had their own warning signs or warning people, their own version of the 12,000, or people who were awake and they managed to move elsewhere. However, they have not tried, that particular civilization has not tried this particular experiment again. Carolyn, amazing. So can you tell us the breakdown and numbers of the different groups going to the different places that you have mentioned previously when the game board is taken down? You told us that there are 2 billion people or 2 billion bodies that are actually inhabited on this planet. Where will these go and in what numbers? Me. So I'm getting 300 to 500 million. I think what they are trying to say is that out of these 2 billion people, there are 300 million NPCs. NPCs are non-player characters, so these are bodies who have no essence. NPCs are bodies, but there is no soul. So NPCs are not going anywhere, and there will not be any NPCs on New Earth. But there will be no NPCs in other places either. They're just not going anywhere. They're staying behind. They're going to dissolve with the board. Of the remaining 1.7 billion bodies with essence in them, it's pretty much 50-50. For people going to, well, it's more like 40 or 40-ish and 50+%, but it's almost exactly 50-50 between people going to 4D, the 4D people who are going to other planets to hang out with the aliens, and the 3D people. The 3D people are 50+% who are going to containment chambers. Clea wanted to know why it's taking this long to take down this board. This is why it's taken a long time, because the 3D people needed to be accommodated. This 40+% of people that are going to hang out with the aliens also need to be accommodated. And so the logistics of this had to be figured out, and it has taken some time. Although remember that time does not work the same way that it works here on planet Earth. Carolyn. So we are close. How close are we? Me. It has already started. We already started taking this down. Carolyn. So are there already those that choose to stay in 3D? Are they already being moved to these chambers as we speak? Me. They will be. This process will start in the next few weeks. And we do mean very few next weeks. They're going to start moving in their sleep. They are not, the number of NPCs is going to grow. However, a lot of it you're not going to notice because truthfully, the difference between a body with an essence in it and a body without an essence is not something that you can tell from behavior. So I want to make a quick note here before we move forward to avoid confusion. I actually was a bit confused by this particular message because from what I understood in previous connections that I had with the 25th, the people going in their sleep, that everybody who's moving, and we're all moving to different places after this takedown or before this takedown, they are taking their bodies. So when they moved in their sleep, I thought they were actually moving by ship in their sleep. They just wouldn't remember. In fact, for some of these people, the entire last few years will be erased from their memory. So they won't have to deal with it. Because they really don't want to know that we live in a matrix, in a game. So they just want reality to continue a certain way. They want to experience more of the 3D reality, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it was a little bit confusing here when they were saying that they will move in their sleep and there will be NPCs left behind. So I do wonder, I have two explanations for this, but I will dig in more in the future and figure out exactly what's going on. If they're referring to the fact that some of these people in 3D are actually going back to the 25th dimension, and a lot of people will be, or they're talking about these people passing, quote unquote, and then reincarnating again in these containment chambers as children, as newborns, and this might be the case. So I will have to find out more, but bottom line, they're saying in the next few weeks, more people, especially the ones going to 3D situations or 3D people, are going to move forward. And it doesn't necessarily look like passing, because again, it seems like they're leaving their bodies behind. So we'll have NPCs simply. So will be bodies without essence, and from their normal behavior, won't be able to necessarily tell. So it shouldn't be very disruptive to humanity in that sense. Let's continue. Carolyn, because the matrix will continue their personal paradigm. So she's asking, so how come we won't notice that these people have started moving? Is it because the matrix will continue their paradigm? Me. The matrix will continue their paradigm because we're making it continue. We are, the light workers, are the ones who are holding the matrix together, or the game would have come down a lot faster, and there would have been major chaos because there were no outlets for these people moving. So this has been a logistics issue, if you wish to look at it that way from a 3D perspective. So we are holding up the matrix. If you have noticed, the matrix is crumbling faster. You can not only see it in what is happening on a 3D level, but a lot of us feel it as well. That is why we have dizziness. I know that both you and Clea have had this issue with the dizziness in the past few days. When you have this, what's happening is that you're being exposed to a lack of matrix. What's happening is that you are outside of the grid at that particular moment, or you are on the edge and now you're feeling, and now you're trying to stabilize yourself. This will happen more and more. The matrix is barely, and we talk about the matrix around this planet. We talk about this planet. As you know, the matrix is everywhere below the 25th. On this particular planet, Gaia is ready to go. The matrix is ready to go. It's already crumbling. If it weren't for the 12,000, it would have collapsed. And so you will see a lot of these. There are a lot of snags in the matrix, and you might call it glitches. You will see a lot of this. Clea's having a huge problem with keeping track of time these days for that same reason. And I know she's not the only one, and they were laughing here. Carolyn. No, she's not. The moon and the sun, and even how the sun plays with the light through trees, it's being caught on camera as pools of rippling effect through the trees and the leaves. Is that the matrix? Me. That is actually what you are seeing, is a little bit of that energy that creates game boards that I was telling you about. And please refer to the very first video in this new series, which I think this is video number 5. So it would have been video number 1. So about 4 videos ago, where I talk about New Earth. The very first thing I saw when I was taken out of the induction phase of the hypnosis was energy, and a certain specific type of energy. They showed me how reality works, and how the matter, it's not really matter, but it's what we use, to the tool that we use to create reality, to create this entire matrix. And so that's what they're referring to, that as the matrix crumbles, we are seeing more and more of this, of the true energy, of the true creative energy that's being used to create this hologram. I will tell you, when I saw this, what they mean by playing at the edge of the matrix. Here's what they show me. It's almost like seeing, so they show me a canvas. So I don't know if you've ever seen a canvas in real life. Basically, it's got holes in it. And then what you do is you put in your thread, which is very thick. Normally it's either wool or very thick cotton, to where you cannot see holes anymore. It's completely opaque. You cannot see through. However, on the edges, where you haven't either finished it, or you're waiting to put a frame on, you will see the edges, the threads that come out of the canvas, of the tapestry that you haven't completed, or again, they're not to be completed. That's how they stay, and they go. They're normally hidden by a frame. when I was losing my balance. And I mean, it was crazy. Like I would close my eyes for a second for whatever reason, and I would like shake myself awake as if I had been wobbling, like you're almost like on a boat and you're losing. It was crazy. It only happened a couple of times, luckily, because I started being concerned, like what is going on? It was almost like being in high water. And so what they were showing me is that you are playing at the edge of this. So you're outside of the tapestry, you're starting to see the threads and you're seeing the real reality behind it. Now, this doesn't just happen for us, for the light workers, it does happen at the edge because of course we're trying to keep this matrix going. So we are working literally on the grid and the edges. What happens though, is that a lot of people are running into this even when they are in the middle of the tapestry, in the middle of the matrix. And so a lot of the images you see, you might have seen them online, or somebody might have sent it to you, or you might have seen them with your naked eye, especially if you go out in the woods. You will see some very hazy images, or the sun behaving very strangely behind trees, to where the reality, you see how you know how you see reality very clearly in our world in 3D. Everything is very neat lines, everything looks very clear. And say that your eyesight was failing, or you start seeing things out of focus, they're a little bit hazy. That's what that looks like. So sometimes you might look behind trees, so you see the trees very clearly, but there's the sun behind it. It makes whatever is behind there that light look like it's either moving a little bit or it's hazy, sparkly. That's what we're seeing, is the energy that's used to create the universes. So what's happening is not that it's that energy that's coming in, is that because our matrix is collapsing, it's creating these holes in the tapestry where we can see through. The thread is so thin, the veil is so thin that we can see through. All right, so she says, yeah, meaning that she's seen that she understands about the energy that we're seeing. And I continue, me. It's actually kind of the energy that you will have on New Earth that looks surreal. It looks like it's a little bit of a faded out, sparkly reality. That's what you're seeing. That is really what the cosmos, or what the matrix is made of. It's that energy. So when we actually pay attention, or we catch glimpses of this, we're just seeing the real, as opposed to this planet, which is not really real. It's a hologram, really. Carolyn. So we speak of the 12,000. Are the 12,000 the very last people to leave the earth, and will everyone else be gone? And I hope that by now, if you watch any of my videos, you realize the 12,000 are the 144,000, but in reality, there's only 12,000 individual souls, quote unquote, essences, really, who are light workers. 144,000 happens because each light worker is allowed to embody up to 12 different bodies on this planet to reach its own goals. So the 12,000 are the light workers. And the question is, are they the very last people to leave the earth, and will everyone else be gone? Me. Yes, we are the last ones. In fact, we have something to do. When we take this down, we're going to be in outer space for a little while to make sure everything is dissolved before we head to New Earth. Carolyn. And what will that look like, us being in outer space? Me. It's going to look like us floating in outer space. We can project ourselves. There is no space, no true space. So we don't have to then fly off, or whatever that looks like in people's imaginations. The second we are done, we can project ourselves on New Earth. That's when we will shed our bodies, our shells, and we'll project our consciousness. We don't have these bodies when we go to New Earth. And if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, go check out the ones where I talk specifically about New Earth. I have several out that will tell you exactly what to expect on New Earth if that's where you are going. However, only 3.5 million people are going to New Earth, but you might be one of them. Otherwise, you wouldn't necessarily be attracted to these kinds of videos. You wouldn't even have found me. Carolyn. So then we will be, the 12,000 will be left with the NPCs. Again, no player characters. Me. a bunch of boxes. I'm sorry, a bunch of empty boxes. That's how they're defining the NPCs. Carolyn, a bunch of empty boxes. Will we see them as such? Will they look like a bunch of empty boxes, or will they stay in their human shape? Me. You will see them as human shapes. A 3D person would not be able to tell the difference. We cannot always tell the difference right now unless we actually pay attention. However, we will become very adept at recognizing the fact that some people are empty. We will notice more and more that some people are gone. Carolyn, why is Carolyn seeing humans as gray? I see many gray humans now. They're not fleshy, they're not pink. Me. You're seeing people that are they're either gone or they're going to go. You're seeing people that are not really, they're not going to be here. They're not going to be here much longer. That's what you're seeing. Carolyn, thank you for that. Oh, so New Earth will be fully populated by the time that the 12,000 get there. Me. 3.5 million people is not a lot of people, so it's not really fully populated. However, it will be populated. We will not be the first ones there. However, they will be waiting for us with open arms because they will be aware. They will remember what we did, and they will realize what we did. There will be talk about this for a very long time throughout the multiverse, what we did, what the 12,000 did. The 12,000 are the original creators. We have done this many, many times. We have created all kinds of things on behalf of the 25th, and they already tell stories about us. Carolyn. So you're saying the 12,000 that have created Earth, we have been together for quite a long time? Me. We don't always go to the same place. We travel, we incarnate in different places. We have lives like other people. What we have come here to do is so special, so unique that we all came here, but we don't necessarily all hang out on the same planet. Now, there are others that could have been light workers, but these people didn't have, in the multiverse, they would have liked to be part of this 12,000 group, but they've missed something that didn't allow them to do this. Something was not right. This is not to take anything away from them, but we have had experiences that are the reason why we are here. And that's why the 12,000 are the ones that, there's always been this group of 12,000, are the ones that create a lot of things. We are not the only ones. So we have created most of it, but we're not the only ones. We're simply representatives of the 25th. The 25th created the first initial spark as a collective when we decided to create the matrix. But then we, as the 12,000, created a lot of the things inside the matrix. And some of you, because I have friends I've spoken with, will remember this experience if you focus on it. And if you haven't remembered it, meditate, because you might get this, this memory that you have helped create things. Carolyn, amazing. So the 12,000, when they do leave Earth, they leave as a group, as a collective. Me, yes, we are. Carolyn. And then we will wait and watch the official ending of the board. Me. It will be quick. There's not going to be a lot of wait, even in human terms. Everything, of course, is instantaneous, happening in parallel if you take away time. From a time perspective, it will be very, very quick. We will decide and then we'll be gone. It might take an hour from a time perspective in human terms. I love it. They make it sound so easy that we're just going to take this down. But hey, apparently we're here, we're prepared, we know what we're doing, and we'll make it happen. So it can be that easy. So we'll all be ready by then. So I'm not worried. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.